Welcome to Blue Silver Cafe Presents, where we have the privilege of interviewing some of the most interesting movers and shakers in business, entertainment, arts, and culture. I'm your host, Randall Phillips, music curator, designer, internet radio host, and DJ for Blue Silver Cafe, your ultimate source for music appreciation. Before I interview my guest, who's going to be awesome, I'm going to take a little time. It's a little early before they come, but I just want to share something that happened, and hopefully, the person that made this recording uh, take place gets a chance to see it because I am definitely putting this on YouTube. But this video is going to be some, I'm going to call it some invaluable advice to change your life forever. And I know that sounds grandiose, and it's not, I'm not trying to sound dramatic or any of that, but it boils down to something very simple. And all of our lives have been shaped by this. All of our lives have been changed, whether we know it or not, by this phenomenon. And what is the phenomenon that I'm talking about? I am talking about keeping your word. Here's what I mean. A lot of times when we are involved with our stuff, whether it be our culture, and what I mean by culture is I'm in music culture. I enjoy music, DJing, records, CDs, movies about music, people who interview about music, musicians, all that stuff. I immerse myself in that because I have a show that I do every other Monday where we do a deep dive into music. And for me, I feel like in order to give my best, I need to do some research and, go into those things. I enjoy it, but I also want to make a good show for our guests that tune in. So what I'm talking about today is a thing that holds a lot of people back, and they really don't know because they're so used to doing it that they think it's frivolous, and it really isn't. And what I mean by that is, like I said, keeping your word. The first thing in keeping your word is to be on time. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect in being on time. There's meetings that I go to that I may come in late. I try to do my best to be there on time. But what I'm talking about is when you have business opportunities one on one with a person, and you say to the person, hey, let's get together because I want to do this. And, what do you think? Oh, man, that sounds great. That's step one. Most people will say, oh, man, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do it, which is very ambiguous. I'm not ambiguous, and I'm giving you some advice to not be ambiguous either. I'll say, what time do you want to meet? They'll say, what time is good for you? I'll say, 9 o'clock. And they'll say, well, let me see. And I'll say, let me know if it's 9 or not. If you can't do 9, that's fine. But let me see is not good. And a lot of people will do the let me see, or I'll work on it, I'll get back to you, whatever. Now, I'm not saying a person who's busy and says, let me check my schedule so I can make sure that I have that time available. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who speak ambiguous. Yeah, let me look into it. Let me see. I'll get back to you. Let me think about it. All that stuff. Okay. Here's something that's going to change your life forever. Those people that say stuff like that are average. And I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings. Average. If you're a person who is involved with business, whether it be the music business, if you're an author, coach, anybody that's trying to be out here in the world of social media or in person, when you tell somebody you're going to do something, you will stand far and above the crowd if you just do it. Or if you can't do it and you realize way in advance that you can't do it, like I'm gonna give you exactly what I'm talking about today. So I had a meeting that was scheduled today. This is Chicago, 6:30 Central Time. I scheduled the meeting a couple of days ago, and I said, hey, we should get together because there's some things that I can help you with that will make you better. They said, well, let me see, yada, yada, yada. I say, hey, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead. This is going to be good. I'm going to just go ahead. I'm not going to say all of the stuff that's in there, but I'm going to paraphrase it. So my first text was, hey, this is Randall. I think I'm able to give you a hand with what you need. What day and time is convenient for you? That person sends me a text talking about, I don't want to say specifically, but giving me a litany of things about what's going on with them. It looks like trying to answer questions that I didn't ask, because a lot of people do that. They'll say, well, they probably thinking this. Ask me what I'm thinking. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. So I get that long text talking about, well, here's my circumstances. This is what happens, blah, blah, blah. Then another little text added to that says, well, hopefully what I can do is do this, and then that'll help with the problem that you are going to help me with. I say, so that sounds like you don't want to do it. Because all that stuff is not the answer to the question. Then they say, no, we can. I have some time tomorrow. I say, well, I have something going on in the morning. Then I've got something else going on later on in the evening, but we can do it a day later at 6:30 p.m. Central. And here's something, by the way, that you can look into on your own before we have the meeting to see if that works with this situation that I'm going to help you with. They say, oh man, that works. Great. I'll look into that. I say, cool. They say, thank you. I give a fist bump. Then this was going to be a Zoom meeting, so it's super convenient, right? I mean, an in-person meeting, Zoom meeting, to me, it's the same thing. You're keeping a commitment to your time. Then I send, as a reminder, the Zoom information about what we're going to talk about. They send a message. I'm not really good with those little things, meeting text message. They sent like 2 exclamation points that says, yeah, I got it. Okay, great. So if all of that stuff, and then when I give the exact date and time with the Zoom ID, this is what I do. I give the title of the meeting, the Zoom ID, the password, the day and the date and the time. And then I say, please note, this is Central Time. Not ambiguous at all. There's nothing to go, well, I thought you meant. Can't say that to me. Everything that we're doing on here specifically is on there. So today I get, I rush from what I'm doing, and I get ready to get into the studio in advance, because if I'm meeting at 6:30, I can't start doing this at 6:30. I have to be prepared before 6:30. It's math, but you'd be surprised how many people don't know how to do simple math. So I was here, and at first I was like, you know what, let me get prepared with doing something else. And then something happened in my day that I had to switch up. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this instead. I'm not just going to, vegetate and go, well, I can't do it. Got to switch to do something else, because guess what? I got to be on time at 6:30. Okay. At about 6:27, Zoom was on. I was ready. And a lot of people that I deal with, they'll be on there waiting before me. They weren't. I kind of had an idea that wasn't going to happen either, just to be honest. So 6:27 comes around, 6:28, 6:29. 6:29, I send a text and say, hey, I'm here and ready. Because people go, oh, I didn't know that you meant then. Can't do that one to me either. So I'm here and ready with the timestamp of 6:29. They say after a couple of minutes, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I thought I texted you and I've been gone all day. Can we do it tomorrow or reschedule?" Average. Now, this person is somebody that I deal with on a regular basis. I'm not going to say their name, but hopefully, like I said, they'll see this and get the point of what I'm sharing to everybody, because this is not a isolated phenomenon. This happens every day, and people accept it and they say, "Well, things happen." Well, I'm going to say that the key to what you're trying to get is often taken away from you because of something as simple as your reputation. If you fake out and don't do what you're supposed to do and use lame excuses, a person like me, you never know who I know. So the thing that you're trying to do, I may have the person or know the situation you could be in to make that happen. Things like that have happened to me before too. I'm gonna give you an example. And I'm trying to make this, because I know people on YouTube don't, I'm told that they don't have a long attention span, so I gotta, shorten it. But I think I will. I'm gonna say this in closing. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. Keep your word, because not only because it will possibly block you going to the next level of whatever you're trying to do, but it also, if there's an opportunity for somebody to, let's say, vouch for you, and somebody says, "Hey, do you know such and such?" And you go, "Yeah." And they say, "Yeah, I'm thinking about doing this with them. What you think?" Guess what you're going to have in the back of your mind if they faked you out for something small? You're going to go, "I don't know if I want to stick my neck out." And then people will say, "That's really shouldn't be a big deal, because, things happen." Let me ask you this. Can you imagine if you're doing something very important, like you're on a plane and the pilot says, "Oh man, you know what? I forgot to tell those guys to put the fuel in there." Man, things happen. You're going to say, "What? That don't make any sense." Guess why? Because when you pay your money and go through the process of going through the airport, doing the check-in, all that stuff, and get on the plane, you have an expectation that that plane has gas in it and it's going to take you where you need to go. I don't know why we don't have an expectation that when people say they're going to do something, they don't do it. So I didn't really get a chance to fully explore this, but hopefully there's somebody got some good points from this. I benefited from saying the words out loud to myself so that I could clarify what was going on in my mind, because I was sitting here like, and I hate to say this because that person, they'll probably see this video. I kind of knew that they were going to fake out. That's what's so messed up. Because guess why? Sometimes there's different things that people will show that let you know that it's loosey goosey, well. And one of the things here, as I close, one of the things that, you should know, like I'm going to reiterate, keep your word, be on time, but also know your audience. There's some people who are cool with that. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, you could be late." But if you know anything about your audience, you should do some research and say, should I be on time with them or what? Because especially like me, when I'm doing business with people, I'm never late. And the reason why is because if you're late, it distracts from the business you're there for. You got to spend time to, the traffic, my dog ate my homework, all this stuff. And your dog was there yesterday. The traffic was there last week. All that stuff has happened all the time. And when you let something happen perpetually that has already happened, it's something wrong with you. So with that, I'm going to close because this video is going to be super long. This is Randall Phillips with Blue Silver Cafe. Hopefully you got some benefit from that. If you did, send me either a chat or go to our website at bluesilvercafe.com. Let me know what you think about this video. Thanks. Take care.